למה גלזוס, מה שאתה פלסטיק? so Yehei Rav Kodomo V'siflach liboi b'yeirai so Yehei Rav Kodomo V'siflach liboi b'yeirai so Yehei Rav Kodomo V'siflach liboi b'yeirai so V'sashlim Mishalin Liliboi V'libo L'cholamo Yizoe Yehei Rav Kodomo V'siflach liboi b'yeirai so Yehei Rav Kodomo V'siflach liboi b'yeirai so V'sashlim Mishalin Liliboi V'libo L'cholamo Yizoe L'tav L'chayim L'ishlam Hay l'tav L'chayim L'ishlam Amen. Yehei Rav Kodomo V'siflach liboi b'yeirai so Yehei Rav Kodomo V'siflach liboi b'yeirai so V'sashlim Mishalin Liliboi V'libo L'cholamo Yizoe V'sashlim Mishalin Liliboi V'libo L'cholamo Yizoe V'l'tav L'chayim V'l'ishlam Hayoy l'tav L'chayim V'l'ishlam Amen.
Chaim.
Uman.
Took a week.
Alright. Men dat gaan we staan, dat is aan in charge van Ooststijl om die Channels geteld te zeggen in de future.
Die heeft de aanvraag, I guess it's like outside.
I mean, it's a collective consciousness, right? Okay, so we're going to start off with the Hayom Yom, and then we're going to go from the Hayom Yom, we're going to go to... We're going to do that in a minute. I'll tell you in a second.
No, it was my time.
I'm going to tell you. From the Hayom Yom, we're going to go to a Maimer, a short Maimer from the Alter Rebbe on the Kuta Torah, Amisera in Torah, on the Parsha. We're actually going to finish it because it's one piece. And then from there, I by mistake sent him the wrong Maimer from the Rebbe from last week instead of this week, but it's the same thing, it's the same spiel. I may even just do the other stuff, go into the other one regardless. While you guys look on this, I'll do that. It works much better that way, by the way. When you're on different pages. Okay. Right. I think it works for the with a high frequency consciousness that we call today ADD, which is not really ADD. It's a higher consciousness. It works better when you're on a different page. I tried it. It works.
Trying to process what you just said.
There's something called Chitas every day, which is Chimish Tilim Tanya, okay? Which is the Rebbe, I think the Rebbe instituted, maybe it goes way back from before that. In every one of his letters, anybody, almost, it's like everywhere, anybody that came for any type of, wanted a Yeshua or a Fu or any type of thing, he's like Chitas and you'll get out. You know, Chitas is, they didn't say get out, I mean, you see in the letters, he's like, and I'm sure you're doing Chitas, somebody calls him for help. And he said, I'm sure you're doing chitas, and then it would go the other way. It's like, I wonder that somebody that does chitas every day, like if you didn't do it, it would be like, I wonder if I'm sure you're doing chitas, then you wouldn't have this problem, right? So he would do it this way, and he would do it the other way, right? He would go in both ways. Then there's something called Hayom Yom. Hayom Yom is the code of the day, just like you have Lahav La'ilaf of Abdullah's by them, like they have the different codes they put out, you know. I forgot his name.
Astrologers.
Atoli. They quote it, like the quote of the day. The Rebbe also had the quote of the day. He took different quotes from all the Rebbes, and he's like, this is the quote of the day. And it's very interesting to see where it's in other words, if you want to see what goes on in the Rebbe's head, like the Rebbe's telling you, like this is what's happening today. This is the conversation of the day. Once you start learning it, you find it everywhere. Like I just learned that, I just had it interesting, I just bumped into that because you're connected to the consciousness of this. So this is the quote of the day. And the more, sometimes it's so far removed that you have to be in a very high state of calmness to understand how deep he's taking you. It's like right in front of your eyes. He's basically painting an Eibishter that's standing in front of you. Like you'll find him in your track that you can't cover. It's like he puts it in there, okay, which we're going to go into soon. So Hayom Yom is the quote of the day. So today's quote is it's pretty long one. Usually it's 1 or 2 lines. So it goes like this: Mitzvah lashon tzivsa v'chibur. Mitzvah, the word mitzvah meint tzivsa v'chibur, meint it's a tzivui. Ich heiss the tinapis. I'm asking you to do something, and through that you're going to connect with me, like I'm shaking your hand. There's a handshake. It's like it's where higher consciousness meets lo das eli meets das tachten. In other words, I'm telling you. Put on tzitzis. I want you to wear tzitzis today. What's happening when you do that? What's happening is that the more we're gonna, going to this is a rich program, right? There's 250 years of live actual data that we have access to. It's not like there's so much Sforim that we lost. That's how it's supposed to be. But the Chabad count lineage goes from the Baal Shem Tov all the way down until today. So we have a rich bookshelves of Mamarim, and everything is in detail. It's not it's because it's the Torah that was supposed to be exposed. It's not in riddles. It's not in codes. It's open. This thing that we call Creator, spirituality, Eibishter, God, all types of Shemas. He's so broad, he's so vast. The ganze Welt was since Weissamer, alle Sachen was since Weissamer bis jetzt, the galaxies, everything is it was one thought of his. Alles in 1 second, one thought. And the Rebbe Rashab goes in the Sum of Love, he breaks it down, he peels away layers and layers and layers to get you into nothingness. And he's like, from this one thought, there's one nekuda, all of the machshava, and it's Avalek Kadosh Baruch Hu, he had a taiva to have a thing, and then boom, Welt was created. And all of that is not even in atzmas. And I don't want to get carried away because it gets dry, and it gets long. So this is a mitzvah. So, however, when I eat macht a bruch of tzitzis, when I macht any type of bracha, it's like this vast thing that all the scientists are trying to figure out, and they're telling you it's been for billions of years and millions of years, which is all garbage because we have a Torah. Our program says 6,000 years. This is when it's umgefangen. That's the ending. We have exact data when this is going to happen. When you make a brucha, you are connecting with him. Okay, and the mashal that the Alter Rebbe uses in Tani is that if I was to imagine, I come to a king or to a friend of mine, and I want to hug him, and he has layers and layers has a coat and then another coat. But once I hug him, it doesn't make a difference if I hug his coat or if I hug him himself. I'm hugging the person, right? I'm hugging the child. So too is like he clothed Hashem Molech Gaius Lavish. He has ungetim with Gaius, with all types of clothing, with Malchus, Peh, and all types of machshavas. But it makes no difference. Once I touch him, I'm touching the whole thing. I'm connected to the thing itself. So when you are connected to that thing, and you have to get, and it doesn't make a difference if it's a little bit or if it's a lot. Right? If I'm holding you, it doesn't make a difference if I'm holding the whole thing or if I'm holding his hand. I'm holding the person. So the chapstechum with ein mitzvah, you're grabbing the thing itself. And the kenstechum with ein mitzvah, kenstechum you can get through a winter. Like the Hasidim, as they say, they used to get one concept in Hasidus and they would work on it. Sometimes it would carry them for a year until they came back to the Rebbe again for Shulim Gidber. They would hold on to one concept, one yediyah in Yalakus, and they would work with that. This is what gave them the chiyas, right? One song. How long can we live on a song? A good song. Yeah, it holds you. That's the song, yeah? So too is an concept of the Heer in Chassidus. V'ois a mitzvah, if einer tit a mitzvah, mischaber im atzmas baruch hu. When einer tit a mitzvah, is ich mischaber mit atzmas baruch hu. Okay, atzmas is atzmas. It's a whole different thing. Shi ha-matzava, es atzivi yahu, is bafoil. He made it possible. In other words, he extended his hand, and their hand can sein atalas, can sein tefillin, can sein shabbos, can be anything. There's different hands. There's fingers and then there's hands. Was er schar mitzvah mitzvah? Dus beshat the schar mitzvah. As we it is na mitzvah, dus the schar. Okay. The mitzvah itself is the fact that you're able to be mindful. The fact that you're able to do shabbos. The fact that you're able to appreciate to machen a brucha. A lot of people, but the Goyim also, they say a prayer before, but to be able to say, that's a huge thing, because if you become more mindful of it, when you're more aware, you can feel the excitement, you can feel the power in it, right? When we have, you drink something and you're more open, your mind is more aware, you feel the excitement, you feel the fire. And that is the schar mitzvah. And ultimately, this is what we're striving to. That's what we want to live off. We want to live. We're not living on the food that we're eating. We're living on the Wort von God. And you can see this in when we got down on a fast, Yom Kippur. You go through after 12, 16 hours, there is no food in the body. Everything has been burned. All the glucose, everything is out. That's why Nil is the hechsta tefillah, because we are really in the highest state of consciousness. When you said you went vegan, if you want to reach higher states of consciousness, they say don't eat meat, keep a clean diet, and like this, when ze do weniger peklich in the feigel, can er besser fliehen. De zeh masham schaber matz was zelf met sava atzivul, so ich connect mit sich mit dem, zeh is schore, that's the schaber. Hier bei mashal gashmi. Wir können es verstehen mit Amushal Gashmi. Ich pushe bei Yosef. Pushe der Mensch. Jesh le bittel panimi al chachma im alles chacham. The bittel, the edit vis is makam lagamer. In other words, when einer pushe der Mensch, he's in front of somebody that's smarter than him, he has a bittel to yenem's chachma, is mavatel. When the hair step is in front of a mensch that you're looking up to, you're sitting in front of, like, wow, that's your chachma is being inspired from his chachma. He's way smarter than you. We gaan gaan beherrish achochem, maar is a poshet een next dat ze begeder noshi klal. We een ze de mavatla vedeuge is gaat zo, maar ze me de roog. We next be een als een le kash ze jagen ze me klal. Hoye kash de achochem met saval is a poshet las is het over zwilo. Hinne bet sie ze nul met sie us shall is a poshet. So when I sit in front of somebody that I respect, Aruv, Areba, somebody that I look up to, and I have no kesher, I can't connect with him because he's way bigger than me, somebody that you look up to, but by him asking me to do something for him, I run and I do it. Hey, and will him get and do us, yeah, that's how I connect, I tap into his chachma. Even though I'm only chapping a finger from him, he's asking me, can you bring me a glass of water?
Shemesh.
What?
Like a shemesh.
Exactly,
Yeah.
and I feel all excited like that. Ich ga bring van de Rebbe, the teller is it. I ga man aangerik de winkel. Something that this is the muscle. Hier in betzive zijn nul met zitzer shlish apashet. Hen laatsam shmarks met usa asher yachal kan mitzvah chacham. Feelt zich als ken tien de mitzvah van hem chacham. Wel leut ziva chacham laas is daar. En het enige huis een tien de zag. So gekickt auf mir, gezoek maar nummer. We hebben bij een chacham nechsel met zies als je elf daber witzalen. Van de chacham ook. Je zegt het, als ik ken spreken de 10 de tijd. All right. Belovad zo is het zive ze maag de chacham haram vanale en is pas beus en hem shmoven. In other words, so darach them he's connecting the ish chacham, which is way higher in consciousness than him, is connecting to him. En moving kan kam jachs la now in have the klab ma yetzive. Ze mag geen gilik, it's got me to the nimshul, is mag geen gilik to what the tzivah is, him dover god of an ala cotton pasha. It doesn't make a difference if he asked you to bring a glass of water, or if he told you to build him a house. It makes no difference. You are excited, and you feel good about it. So too, we're connecting to a higher by doing any type of a mitzvah. Mitzvah means tzafse v'chiver. A mitzvah does not mean that magad gan and gehenim tamanish. We don't look at that anymore. That does not exist anymore. We're looking at it in a way that it recharges my batteries. It gives me chiyas. And when I do that, when I'm holding on to something that pure and that powerful, I have no worries. It breaks away all my other fears and all my other anxieties. Everything else is out of the window because I have a boss, I have something that I'm connecting to, and everything else is, and that's called the minute betochen. And you can go levels with this. You know, it depends how deep you want to go with it. All right. So this is our Yom Yom of today, which is very applicable because we're talking here about which we're all going into. We're heading into the winter, which gets intense, it gets heavy, and we need stuff to hold us, to carry us, to keep us going. You know, it's a stinkel in the road, the nectar, the choshech is longer than out more than the light, and the light that we have is pretty. You know, it's cold. It gets a little damp. So
Yeah, it's frozen.
exactly. So tzafse v'chibur, we have something that we're holding on to. All right. So this is our yom of the day.
Hi.
Yeah. So the question was if Terech has an aliyah from all this. So I don't know, but let's open it up. Let's talk about it. There is it's a good question because I actually wanted to head over there. I believe we touched on it last week or the week before. I don't remember. I made the point where Yes, we spoke about it last week. Until now, we looked at it that there's a split. Ich bin the light, I'm the light, and then there's a choshech that I need to deal with. And everything that comes at me is my choshech, and I need to push to process that choshech. Now, last week we spoke about that because the Rebbe revealed to us in Simchas Torah that Yotzer Eire Bore Choshech, beide zijn gewähnt creations. Okay? In zijn gemacht von beide. In Sommer, ich hab mein Chalig Eure, mein Chalig Choshech. Vergesst von Choshech von mein Yatzer Hari Yatzer. There is a Chalig a Choshech there is a Chalig Toif. I need the Choshech to be there. So in other words, I have both. Ich hab the Eure and ich hab the Choshech. There is a split. And from that, I'm processing something bigger, which is less machshava tvisa beklal, something that I can't really process. It's almost like when you see the blowtorch, it has the gas and the oxygen, and both of them together, and then on top of that, there's the flame. The flame hovers above. So this is what it is. Naravai nishmas adam. In other words, we have the oil, I have the choshech, I have the light, and I have the choshech. And from this friction, we spoke about the flintstone, right? The flintstone is the firestone. Was as you rub it together, the spark comes out. When you look at the flintstone, you can drown it in water. He has nothing. It's complete choshech. But as you start creating friction, the flame comes out. So we are the same. Ayid is geglichen to a flintstone. So we have both of these parts. And as I'm going through my friction, what's my friction? Archoizer. And we're going to use them. We're going to open it up more now. Not just archoizer. Everything that I'm going throughout the day, positive or not good, what I'm perceiving not to be good, is my archoizer, is my flintstone, is my friction, and that's what it means. Afila ma'im rab l'ich l'ich b's ha'ava. Afila ma'im rab l'ich l'ich b's ha'ava. That was the ma'im that I'm going to learn for the gavach. That afila, no matter what ma'im rab is, all my matelis, all my worries, and all my daggers, and all my everything cannot put out the fire. Cannot put out my fire that I have, my flame that I have inside. Not only doesn't it put out the flame, it makes me even more stronger. I become even more stubborn. Because now I'm holding on. And that's what it means, Batunach HaTeva. That's what it means that the Teva is rugegangen 15 feet into the Wasser, and Nogum is overgegangen. And the Wasser had only covered 15 feet above the highest mountain, covered that too. Because that's what raises me up. Now all that is just an imshal. You ask the question, why does the Torah elaborate on the sizes of the taiva, right? So the Rebbe goes into that because the taiva is all nefesh, ruach, neshama, chai, yechida. It goes through all different levels of my neshama, of our makeup, and as my worry and all that comes my way, it fires me up even more. I become more fearless. I become more ferocious, and I put my foot down and. Netzach Yisur Lo Yishakev. Netzach Yisur Lo Yishakev means we will never be put out. We will never be put out. There is Kain and Hevel. This is the ganze Mechumah from Kain and Hevel. You can go here or there, whatever you used to, whatever you got your space better. This again, the ganze Mechumah from Kain and Hevel. Kain was intellect, and the Hevel was emotion. And even though Cain harget Hevel, but really, how was he able to kill Hevel? Hevel, I mean, they were equal. They were equal powers. He was able to kill him because Hevel was archoizering it. He's like Gam Sham Nimtze, and as he starts hitting him, and Cain couldn't figure out how to kill him. Right? You're aware of that, right? First, he didn't know. He was the first man to be killed. So Cain did not know how to kill him. That Mungefang klapt him off in fees, and do bizat ausgefigured the by the neck or something, whatever. But Hevel was like, "What are you doing?" And throughout this whole process, he was archoizering himself because he wasn't gonna kill him back. He wasn't gonna fight back, and he was because when I go into my emotion, you can't put out the emotion. The Nazis Yamach Shemam is that intellect. What's this emotional mishigas over here? But no matter how much they try to put out the fire, you can't put the fire out. The fire is here to live because without the fire, the whole intellect, it doesn't exist. The intellect is only here because of the fire. right? So you can see the chaver that are going on intellect and madrayat. Intellect is surmina. That's intellect. It's endless. It's a spin. Feeling and I'm feeling and I'm feeling and keep going back and dan heb ik gewoon water vannacht. En nog when I'm about dan komt the andere frische dag. I get distracted. En nog heb ik But when I go into my emotion, when I rise above the occasion, I don't even pay attention to it. Of course, I use my intellect to get me to that place, but ultimately I want to go on top of the water. Ik wil niet zo ausfigeren als het as I'm feeling the squeeze, you tap into the higher, and we're gonna see how that works. What was the question?
Theta.
So I would have to say that let's just say based on what's been coming down is that Terech was a means to an end. He's holding space. He was holding space with Avram. He put Avram into a massive Archezer where Avram was able to. We're here because of that, right? He squeezed us into the top, and here we're going to see how far he went. So just to finish that off, I think Terech is content with where he is. The question is like this: Bilam Harusha, yeah. And he wasn't successful. David tells him, "You can't stand a Sheldon. No matter what you do, these guys are blessed. I already blessed them. There's nothing you can do." My question that I always had was, why didn't he just convert? Kim to Moshe and listen, you're the truth. I surrender. Because he couldn't. That's where he saw where he's at. This was his whole existence. Like as he archozed himself. He got to the point where he was completely played out, and then he got them all into a spin. He got them all killed. He's like, you know what? I'll take you all down with me, and all of the Midian, the Antzach, and I'm going to get with him. He saw his end. We have no. These guys are gonna win, and then also I already said the Matovia lech Yaakov, right? This is where he saw the tznius from the Yiddish nation, that we have a whole different setup. But we covered this once, and we'll do it when the time comes. So if Terech, I think Terech is holding space. He's content with where he's at. You know, he did a great job. You know, he's fine being in the choshev that he's at. That's where he resides. If he had a tikkun, there's different. I think Shara Golden talks about it. There's a back and forth if he did or if he didn't. But yeah.
After all, at the Neshuga out of Rome contained what he wanted. Meaning, once Avram discovered the truth, he didn't hold off. It's mitgegangen mit him. You must take it b'churan. I was going along with him at the Neshuga out.
You must take it b'churan. It says that you must take it b'churan, right? So he died in his choshev.
Now we know what I mean to say is that at Neshuga, once he saw Avram going next step, he didn't like him Nesharu gesetzt for them. He had him gelost wachsen.
Mine actually. My other gezien als hem geheißen naar Roos gaan, aan het lopen van them, van Kasdim, other nine, other hem gebrengt in the mid.
And what Rashi says we must take B'churan is that he was Machzor B'tshiva before. That's why the Torah elaborates the pussing on it. We must take B'churan is because he was Machzor B'tshiva before he died.
So his mission was done.
Kind
of like his mission was done.
Yeah. He finished his job. Okay. Anoich morgen lach. So this is a kleine stikkelhoef in Torah, right? So first of all, I'm going to do something from here just to bring us in so we understand what Avram is given. What's meant Avram? Okay. The eerste man is just a couple of lines. Hina Avram hu asach la nel mekol Avram. Av tate Ram groß. Ram means Ram mesnase is high up there. It's guys asach la nelam. What's my asach la nelam is like this. V'tzorach la beginnes gili. Dan Elio is seider stalshus is gonna schakem rot begaf me idee. Beginnes yiride madrag atzov vatachas Elio is gili de biag and el metach tanig and Avram shichle kabel gili tanig. Avram komt van een plaats, hij komt van een plaats waar ze heger van Chachma. Maar I don't know. It comes from a place that's completely Nelam. Nelam means that that's where we are coming from. That's where we're beginning from. Like from such a place of, from such a high place of consciousness, of connection, that we can't even process that. How are we going to process this? As a kind van een hoge plaats, we zullen graag oppikken, how am I going to process something that is completely translucent, something that's completely nothingness. It's iron. I don't even get it. How do I process what's going on over here, in between the space? The only way I can process is when something comes opposite. When you put on a black light or something that's completely choshech, I'm able to see all the dust and all the particles and all that. That's when I can see it. Okay, so this is where Yitzchak comes into play. So now you have Avram, which is this light, Yitzchak, which is Gevura, absolute tzimtzum, and what comes out from that comes out Yaakov, which is the perfect balance of both. And we have all three. This is Elokai Avram, Elokai Yaakov is when Nayish Toltz Davenen, you're not going out there, you're going in here. Punim bepunim Yadaber, when man Toltz Davenen, I'm not Gedaven is to I'm davening over here, I'm davening to Elokai Avram, a chaylik of me, Elokai Yitzchak, and Elokai Yaakov, which is a balance. This is where we're davening. And the more and more I can peel away, after I did the Psika de Zimra, after I was Makar of the Karbonis, and I did the Psika de Zimra, which is Halle with Shishbucha, is Dank dem Abishn, for the Stedens, and the Lavunim, and the alle Gitte Sachen. After that, I'm coming into Shema Yisrael, where I'm completely Moser Nefesh. The Mesiris Nefesh Pshat is that everything that's holding me back, or everything, all my excitement and all my struggles. Ich verstehe jetzt, weiß ich, alles Shema Yisrael, heet sie Yisrael, which in Zimmer alle Yisrael, collective consciousness Zimmer Yisrael, Hashem Elokeinu, Yudke Vavke Elokeinu, which is, Yudke Vavke is the Chalik, which is Kenem and Hashem, right? It's the high level consciousness. Elokim, Elokeinu, which is Elokein Midas Adin, which is Tzimtzum, which brings me into existence. Hashem Echad. This is alles eins. And then you just laugh. It's all one. My struggle is just, my squeeze is just here because my hand is so numb that my squeeze is just here so I can become aware of my hand. I'm going through my struggle all day, every day, so I can just become aware. It's almost like a cast that's holding me in place. Right? There's such the oil is so powerful, it's so strong that, can you just turn on the air? One of you? Thank you. It's such a powerful oil that I can't. The only way I can process this is by going through the squeeze. Do you guys remember the Yaakov Ashepodas Avram? You want to hear? You know? Remember this one? Yaakov Ashepodas Avram. So Avram Avinu had sich completely Moshe Weisz going. Which means, not wrong word. Avram Avinu was completely surrendered to a consciousness. In other words, Nimrod had the man angeworfen in the fire. Yeah. Why didn't he burn? Who's it Nimrod geworden? Who's it Avram geworden verbrennt? So it's geschehen am Nes, hat man gesucht in Chayder. But who's it the Nes? How did it happen? Everything has to happen up physical, up table. Why? What happened over here that Avram is geworden verbrennt? Because Avram was so surrendered, he was so fearless, he knew everything is Eibishter, no matter what came down, his bills that he couldn't pay, and the ropes around his neck, to the point where he saw Eibishter and everything, to the point where they threw him into fire, he's like, "This is Gunish, so do I got." He was Gunish. When he came out of the, Avram Avinu said, "Anoich ufer ve'ever, ich ben ash en parach, ich ben Erd en dust." Erd is een gestulde mamushes, but dust, ash, ever had Gunish in sich. Completely, she's completely has nothing. It's nothing. When Avram Avinu is Agetin zan avoide, da habe ich dem Ziel gesucht, als ihm geben deine Kinder und bekommen nicht zu. All right, which we're going to learn what that means too. When Avram wollte wenn getin, wollte angegangen in fire, and I will got in mind, ich did this because because there's a fat check waiting for me at the end of the day. Even if I die right now, there's a nice paycheck for me. My kids, they promised me, and Jetzt gut seit wir wissen alle Städten, seit gesehen alle Leute gesagt, meine Kinder haben das, no problem. Ich gehe ein Feier an, I'm good, I covered it. Ich darf gut nicht für mich. Wenn will haben, wenn a viele day pure noch sugar von meine Kinder, which the Irish them gesagt. If he would have held on to that, he would have burned. Because there was a yeshus there. There's something there. There is a personal investment in there. He was completely surrendered. Complete. It read from Avram. Cycle and Elam. He processed God, nothing, nish this. To the point where I may repeat it to him because this is more like for the 10-minute, power. So don't hold it against me if you hear it twice.
It's impossible.
When I was just I got him gave him the guilt and all the silver because remember something. This has been haunting me since I'm a child, right? Every time you want to give up, ich darf nicht lamm gut mit dem verschiedene Geld do, so draait mit dem Kopf. But the habe stelle doch auch wieder gut das Geld. Das zieht sich für alles an der Geber. Ich habe gegeben Geld. Ich habe bench mit Käse Besuch. You have to understand what's going on. It's not bench with guilt because guilt. They were able to process even the money to the end. Even the tithe for money, he was overcoming even the money. Like David HaMelech was gegessen brood met zalz. That was his dinner. Right? And when he had alles in the world. He processed everything. Now, let's just go with this. When Avram Avinu is gegangen van de Welt, after 175 years, there wasn't a single thing left of him. Nobody even knew he existed. Let's just go with that for a minute. Okay? Because he was completely surrendered. Het is getien alsof hij doet tzadikim was going from the world. Was kind of reisnischmissen. Gehad het zijn 3 mensen naar hem zijn bed wanneer gegangen. Gehad efter 50 chassidim. Yeah? Nobody knows. Nobody is completely surrendered to the thing. Nog een kind Yitzchak. Right? So Avram gaat weg van Welt and he's completely ever. He's dust. Nog een kind Yitzchak. Yitzchak does the same process the opposite way. Avram comes from bottom down. From top down. Because Chesed, Yingele Shefelig, that gave him Philip, that he can't shot, he overindulged and he gave so much. Then came Yitzchak. Yitzchak is so powerful, is so holding, that no matter how much you squeeze him, zit Eibester and then zit out to the point that you can't see him, that he went blind, and he was able to hold space for Isaav. And Saladam and Nachalz for them, Isaav and Yishmael. We're still processing them. Yitzchak got from the Welt, and there's nothing left of him. Okay, tonic built-in mortgage, right? We covered this. You guys are familiar with that. Tonic built-in mortgage is, I don't need anything. I don't need any siyata d'shmaya that noch a mazel ben a shungik with the deal of the dargafal. I just am. The fact that I'm breathing and I know that I'm a yid, dayenu. Aber Yaakov was shepodes Avram. Okay, Yaakov had ausgeleist Avram. Why? How did he do that job? Yaakov had ausgeleist Avram because when I'm dealing with something that's as delicate as dust, as aether, what can deal with dust? If I look at dust, if I touch dust, if I breathe next to it, if I walk on dust, it's over. If I step in it or if I walk next to it, it flies away. But Yaakov is Midas Arachim. Midas Arachim is complete compassion. It's such compassion, it's so much love, it's so delicate that it's like the Nesher, which flaps its wings and it's completely surrendered to Amunah. There's no subtlety. Everything is complete surrender and perfect balance. That he was like the black light for Avram. When Yaakov is gekommen mit amol umgefangen gesehen what they got for. Without Yaakov, what you can't download Avram and Yitzchak. We wouldn't grasp it. How can I give so much chesed and how can I be so? It's like almost like Yishmael is a Moshe Nefesh. But it's falsch, it's nicht kan avoid. Blust sich auf. He's going to say, but it's falsch avoid. That's not that way. Yishmael goes on suicide because that's what we would have looked like without Yaakov. That's why the Be'eres HaShechafri Yitzchak lo yachal pelishtim listan. Yitzchak's avoid is given so tief that we said this, and now we're going to bring it into light. Ayit, when the next weg van een Aleph, next weg van een bias, you take. Soft, you're about to throw him into the gas chamber, what does he do? Shema Yisrael Shem Eken Hashem Echad. You strip everything away from him, you find the core, who we are. This is who we are. We are Atzmas Zimohus. We are a direct line. You strip me, and then you find me. Okay? Der Yishmael, when the next weg van een goy, A, B, C, and D, he dies. He has nothing else. Because whatever he has is this, and his food, his wife, and his cars, and whatever he has. And if he's an intellect, when you take that away from him, he's done. When the Ishmaeli, when it goes on a suicide, he's just exploding. The Be'eres Shechaf Yitzchak, when the policemen getan nuchtet in Yitzchak's avoda, they exploded. Their heads flew up. They couldn't press because they maxed out. At some point, it was over for them. But Yaakov is gekimen and he woke up the Smidas Rachmanis, the Kavim Tzoy, which is the balance, and now I have Yitzchak, I have Avrum, and I have Yitzchak. I'm able to fly with it. I'm able to take it. When I come into my stress, to my business and my parnasa, dagas parnasa, and everything else, I'm able to activate Yaakov. I have one more tool in my box, which is my center line, and my center line is what carries me through it. And once I'm in there, I'm the leap of faith. I'm gliding. I'm free. It's the nesher. And sometimes the only way to get out is by just having the leap of faith. That's the only way out. So the squeeze is here for me to finally, like, you know, I need to jump over the cliff. I need to jump, and I'm afraid that this is little faster than, but I'm afraid. So as the snow keeps melting, if I don't have my kavam zui, I'm giving up. But if I have my center line, I jump, I surrender. I'm like, whatever is going to happen is going to happen. He's got me, because he is everything. He is everywhere. Everything else is just the levush to be able to hold this space. So my squeeze is for me to finally to push me off the cliff, so I can jump. So the more the squeeze, the more opportunity to jump.
Wow.
Put it into reality when somebody is by the end of the cliff.
Yeah.
Just like a room, you know, if you went into
The fire.
the fire,
Yep.
if you do it from a pure place, just thinking, if somebody falls off a cliff, it falls off a cliff. What are you going to do about it?
So first of all, Avram jumped off the cliff many times.
A physical cliff? A realistic cliff?
Maar toen ga je zo'n schechten dan zien?
Yeah, but it's...
Laat maar eens mijn schechten zien. So we can put it into 2021 vision, right? To sacrifice my son could be that I don't care. I have a mission, I'm going on my shlichus, I'm doing my mission, I don't care what I need to sacrifice for that. I don't care because this is my avodah. I don't care. The Yidden in Rusland, they want to Messias Nefesh. This is here because of Yidden and in the fire. The fact that they didn't jump into the fire, we jumped into fires too. When the Spanish Glazitzi in Zemaran in fire, Zeran in Holocaust, went into fire. We are a product of that fire. We are a product of the people that jumped into the fire. In the side is the fact that the Turks stand a couple with tabur is what einer van down lineage is springing in fire. Because those that didn't jump in are living somewhere else, living on a beach, or they're in a different reality. This consciousness is here now. This Yaakov, Shepodas Avram, is because they completely surrendered. Yossi Jacobson is here today because Zan Zaide gehad sich against St. Yidum some gemacht Ashvir mit dem Friedrich Rebbe that they go on Messias Nefesh. We're talking about brutality that these people went through. Met hem goed gekocht in a top Wasser, a heiße top Wasser, they put him in there to prove a point. The Friedrich Rebbe was facing a gun, a revolver in front of him, and he looked into the barrel, looked into the end of Choshech, he looked right into the Ein Sof, and he said, I'm not afraid of you because you're fake, you're nothing, you're not real.
I'm not talking about that jumping a cliff. I'm
Yeah.
talking about physical cliff, because that is still human being.
You're not supposed to
still
jump
facing-
off a physical cliff. We're not jumping a
So
physical cliff.
I am thinking about jumping a physical cliff.
You're thinking about literally to jump off a cliff?
Literally, yeah.
You can't do that.
With that consciousness.
So you're jumping over that cliff.
So
You slowly. You're jumping. You're going back. You're jumping, and you're jumping on the cliff. We're all jumping the cliff.
I don't look at this cliff as a cliff. I'm trying to. There's the same concept and the same consciousness of literally actually jumping off a cliff with the same consciousness.
So you're saying jumping and staying alive?
No, wait. He's almost there again. You're talking about jumping
Literally jumping.
with the napkin. I remember the napkin.
Literally seeing a cliff and jumping over the cliff with that consciousness.
With this kind. Okay, so again, let's imagine that you're standing. You're standing in front of a cliff. We're about to jump off, and the consciousness should be like there is inam of other.
Yeah.
Okay. That is, as I'm going through my struggle in my business, I'm saying, this is fake. This me not being able to cover is not what's pushing me. That's not really. There is. I've done everything I can, and from here it's enam of other. It's going to be whatever it's going to be. Ich darf sein halten Kopf, darf sein ein Mensch. So your ego is coming into play. So it's my ego.
So over here I can understand where I'm gonna go from this side. But when I'm going on a hike and I literally see a cliff down there, and I want to go with that consciousness that I know Levado.
Yeah.
I don't care what's in front of me. I'm at one, and just keep on going.
Yeah, I'm going to pause this.
Falling off the cliff, it's nicht kamushel. Because the reality mentions in Shanibigang throughout the history, mentions in Shanibigang and alles.
So let me ask you a question. Can you imagine the Welt without any cliffs? Just everything is flat.
Yeah.
How does it look? What would life look like if the whole world is flat? The ganze Welt is flat. And by the way, up until Columbus came along, they thought that the world is flat. And they made their decisions based on the world is flat. And at that, you know what life looked like? That you had one guy standing over here with a sword and a shield, and another guy standing in front of the shield, and they started banging each other, and whoever was stronger died. And then you had 10,000 soldiers standing there with bows and arrows, and 10,000 people standing over here with bows and arrows. And this guy, they're like, wait, honor. They pulled the trigger first, and 1,000 people died. And then they put down their bows, and then these guys responded. And it was honor, because the world is flat. And this is how it went. When the Yidel is gekommen, and at ausgefigured commando style attack, because they're like, listen, I'm not going to sacrifice 10,000 people for that honor. I want to go home and eat a sheep. So what they did is they snuck up on them, right? Kim and the Geverdet and the Chashmenum and all these guys, and they did commando style attacks. Yeah, exactly. It's Ugamal, Shimon Levi, Ugamal of a ganze Stoot, gewarten 3 Tag. And it's like, oh, honor, but they from the Jewish rats, right? They're Eden and the mice, the Hitler, the rats are here at him, but I'm not gonna, I don't need your egotistical Michigas. You got a higher council, you want to do it in morgens, after we didn't. So the Welt, as the Mushel and the Nimshel, is all relevant. The cliff, what Sie do, is building me in a certain spot that I am making decisions based on this, that I know that the world is not flat and there is a cliff and I am jumping off the cliff. Now, the Ishmaeli, he jumps off the cliff. Allah Akbar, and he jumps off the cliff. The Yid is, when he comes out, instead of, you know how the Ishmael came to us from Holocaust and he decides, you know what, I got overraasd aan de ganze wereld, maar jeder corner restaurant gaat er opbloezen met dat suicide naam. De Yid komt er us from Holocaust and says, you know what, in jeder corner van de wereld ga ik gaan succesvol. Lababish komt er in jeder corner van de wereld ga ik opzetten naar hotspot. The guys on the plot that you can come and recharge your consciousness. There's going to be little spots. If I bring and I come everywhere. I gaan my bottle, die drinkt dat bottle. Zij kan, zij kan. Billem is overstaan aan Zivri, en Avroem is overstaan aan Zivri. Ja, gewoon bewegen. Ja, gewoon Avroem is overstaan aan ja, was het gewoon to sacrifice ons zien, to give us this. En Billem is gegaan met wat geweld om aan een firma zijn IJssel. Right? So we both have the same, but we just have Amchot Monom. We're plugged in a different way. So literally, we don't need to jump off the cliff. I know why the cliff is there. I know what it does. What the cliff is to me is my getting up in the morning, in a Tuesday morning on a Mar Cheshvan, I see a cliff. And I'm like, I'm afraid. I'm checking it, I'm testing it, I go back, I run back, and I come back and forth, and then I'm like, you know what? I get one more squeeze and I jump.
Or maybe back off.
Or take your time, play in the field. Says a mushel in. Okay, good. I'll tell you more.
Take a deep breath.
we covered this already, and
Focus brings to them Mushal because this is the worst that someone can do. It's the worst someone can do, so people could relate to that. So this is the Mushal.
I'm not quite. Gaat nog eens wieder bestak.
Wat van Rusland.
No. I'm trying to understand, but I don't want to lose where I am at. So I want to do. I'm still holding on to my raft. So once.
Yeah.
Okay, after this I'm surrendering. Fine. so the word of the Zoy. The way we look at it now is we are in a higher place than the time of the Beis Hamikdash. Okay? Because the Beis Hamikdash, they needed to have, in other words, when we came out of Mitzrayim, we went into the Midbar, we needed physically to go through the process of, we needed to be physically to go through the process in order to see, in order to do this. Once that time passed, we did this yesterday by the check-in. Right? We say somebody checked in over here. He checked in. He's like, I was worried that. No, he's like every time something good is happening, and then it goes away. Like fine, we had a good thing going, and now it moved around. I lose it. So the way I look at it now, the way we are trained to look at it now, is that I'm not holding on to it. I don't live anymore in the past and the future. In the past and the future is like, I need to hold on to this check-in, I need to hold on because once it leaves, I'm lost. No. We're looking at it from my lamata. I'm evolving. I'm shrooming out of the experience. I'm clouding out of the experience. I'm opening up more and more. So the fact that I had a good experience and now it's not here anymore, b'cheliyata, this is just a jumping launching pad for me to continue further. We needed a we needed a I'll pause in a second to say hello because I'm just in a thought.
No, we don't want to interrupt your thought.
So we needed to have physical Beis Hamikdash. We needed to physically go out, but now we are a product of that. We already processing this like this. Now Avrum Avinu gegangen vayivan mizbach gegangen naar gedaan van Abishne. Dat doen mizbach. Wel doe gaan zijn kinderen hoe mamal gommen. En doe gaan zijn kinderen hoe die naar de zure tussen schoiget. Dat niet gemaakt hebben mizbach. Dat ooit was dat mizbach. What he did is, it's spaces in it's time and space and consciousness and machshava that is still here. Everything is happening in the hoivets. We are living. I used to have this thing when I missed a minor and I would learn it after Yontif. I'm like, I missed it. I should have learned this on Yontif. But now, no. Like the Rebbe said on minor on Simchas Torah, that was to me, I learned it this year, and it was like such a powerful new breakthrough. The way I look at Choshech, like I never saw it like that. Like it was a revelation to me that I am and Choshech. Like no longer do I fight. It was a gift because of this year we processed Choshech to the end, right? And now what am I doing? Now no longer Choshech is not my enemy anymore. So from that place we gave birth to Choshech is also part of my makeup, and from there we went instead of Mar Cheshen to Ram Cheshen. I was able to say that Choshech is an elevation. Choshech is Cheshen is the only month without any human toilet, right? The Mabul is finster. We go Yankel Chadarke, we're coming out. So I don't need that. My experience is here to. I had the physical experience, and now it's still there. The mimer that I learned for Yontif is not there for Yontif. I'm walking out of the clouds with that. I want you to imagine that you're running out with a horse from the clouds, and there's smoke coming from both sides. Right? You're coming. That's the vision that the Rebbe. That's the picture that the Rebbe paints for us. I'm coming in with fire. I'm coming in with power. I'm not afraid of nothing. What am I worried about? This, that, and the other. I'm doing my job, yes, and I get carried away in the stress. This mind rab, the oldest, the storm in the water is not going to put my fire out. You may confuse me for a second, but I'm going to catch. I know where I'm standing. I know where I'm at. You're not going to take me away. And these are the nisyones that Avrum Avinu went through. Ben ik wil gaan schechten de Al-Qaeda van Yitzchak Gevini. The shooting came with all stories. You know what the stories look like? How are you going to cover your bills? How are you going to put? You crazy? How are you going to do? You give him tzedukah, some shit, you want to be a master against you give him kamasa. Stressing about the health and stressing about this. He came with all types of stories. Traffic. I'm stuck. And what I'm going to say, what I'm going to do, and he's going to scream at me, and I'm not. I came with all types of stories that looks exactly what it looks like right now. It's just that now we're at the bottom, and we're more in the fragment. We're into the nitty gritty. It looks like, am I going to cover? Am I not going to cover? My divorce, my marriage, and it's down to the stuff that 1,000 years ago we didn't even deal with that. It wasn't shy. We weren't that present. Our feet were not grounded that we were able to process my children. We had 70 kids, and there was fields, and there was more barbaric. What did we deal with? It was real time. Is he going to kill me because of Mila? Is he going to kill me because of? Am I going to get killed today because I'm a Yid? Can I light candles tonight? There was a whole different. It was a whole different consciousness. I feel like the goy, the choshech that we were at, was a whole different. The goy understood that if the Yid lights menorah candles, he's bringing down light. I need to stop that. If he halt the taras and mishpucha, that's not good for me. Somebody said, bring the karbunas that of them besamikdash that they're putting us out. They understood in a whole different level, right? So now we're down to such a bitter that the Yid is not the problem anymore, because they figured it out already. We're all equal now. Yeah, and that's it. We're all equal. He doesn't have to worry about it. To has to do chemicals that this is strive chazer. Du must gushers with saglas erborn on it. It's the same thing. It's the same thing. Right? The Torah is essence days because at their unklagen in the brain. Essence day meaning first, well, this is bottom feeders. Essence can shirutz in the muzer. And what's the answer? The under Miguel. So he's okay. He's like, I don't need to torture the Yidden. I can't say on Paris Mishpucha because 98% of the oil is out cold, sleeping. Out cold. Here, Terekel, and the guy, his showers, fine. But, just to finish on that thought, in case he gets caught off, is the only way we got out of Mitzrayim. Wusser is a chizah Mitzros from Mitzrayim. Shaloi Shanis Levushim and Veshimam. Someone is getosh the Levish and the Numen. Levish might nicht days. Levish might and the Numen might nicht yen. But we can be with that too. Shaloi Shanis Levishim Veshimam. Shot is that we stuck to the basics. No matter what. You know what? Ich kann nicht dem Kopf zu halten. Ich weiß nicht, wenn ich mache Bruche verwusst. Ich weiß nicht, wenn ich habe zu tun, I'm doing it for my own thing, because I want to have a flag on the wall. Beseder, but I'm still doing my thing. Ich timme noch my Garten, I hit my Rekel, my Wasser Hennet, ich gehe in Mikva, oder nicht. Ich halte my Shabbos, trick in der Heid, but that's what it is. Zeh ma sheyesh, I'm holding on to it. That's what it's available right now, and it's fine. And this was the Rebbe's am gesehen this, mit seiner Vision, und gewissen, the conscience that they have to do. So I'm gepusht. Chesed, Chabad consciousness, geht zeros und drossen, geht mar beteure. Jede Chassidus hat sich gerade sein Kaf, that they pushed, unkankashes. Veel in Lubavitch, daar hebben gestapt de lange daven. De Chassidim hebben gedaven, 3 uur Shachris, jeden Tag. Daar hebben het gestapt. Daar hebben we daven met Neulen doen, 45 minutes out. Het was nog als een room, he davened alone. But for the most part, there was the basics. They started pushing basics because they knew, like, if we're going to keep with that, we're going to lose everything. And now this is not the Avodah. It's coming back now. The Avodah is coming back because we're waking up. We already know, we're feeling, we have the fire. And as they're squeezing us, as we start to see now the squeeze, we're going to go into Niyun of the Yom, because Nafleid Medetzad. As we're going into the squeeze, right? The question is, should I not? Yeah, should I follow? Should I not follow? Should I take it? Should I not take it? Am I afraid? Am I not afraid? What's the message? I can say that it's my the leaders are forcing me to take it, like the Chavra, the Chayas, and he's forcing it on, or I know that Eno Mevade. That's what it means that I'm looking at it and I'm jumping into the fire. I'm seeing him. And when I see that the new mandate is that everybody has to wear a mask, and I can say that Chayru, I don't want to mention their names while the square are open, or I can just see it's Choshech, and he's not Balabus, he's just a puppet. What's the message? The message is now that strap yourself, be quiet, and or don't travel. It's not a time to run around. It's a time to be locked in, and it's not a time to go to a movie theater now. It's not a time to go out every night and eat. It's a time to to bundle, anchor down, huddle down, and get real. And as the squeeze is coming tighter, my Or Choizer is coming to the place, and now I'm getting in touch with my tiny built-in mortgage without jumping into the fire. I'm jumping in the cliff. I'm jumping off the cliff. That's what's called jumping off the cliff. That I'm sitting on a plane, and it makes zero sense to me. That I'm strapped in for 4 hours, my ears are burning, I'm sitting over here, and there's like, your nose too, please, your nose, you know. I'm exploding. I'm like, wie kann man sagen, als affair? It's choshech va'feile. You gotta be kidding me. Are you serious? Du bist ein normal, intelligenter Mensch. You talking to me that it's over here, you tell me to put it up over here? Jetzt ist good. Now I'm drinking serving water. Jetzt kannst du sit up now. Jetzt ist alles fine. Sir, put on the mask. I went to change the seat. I was with my daughter to change the seat. Sir, put on your mask, please. I didn't put it on. So, sir, put on your mask, please. No problem. Okay, jetzt is alles good. Now he's safe, and this is alles good. Yes, right. So as you're watching that squeeze, you're watching that spin. I can be like Erzabaim, or I can see what's the message here. What's the message? I'm complying. I'm also teasing them. I'm teasing Choshech. I'm putting my finger in his eye here and there, well, because I can't help myself. But stuff. What's the message? That's jumping off the cliff. I understand. I'm not gonna get caught up in that spin. I understand what's going on. I know it's gonna get heavy. It's gonna get intense, and I'm using that time. And by the way, this is actually, Hill covered the Buddhist awareness. This is the Erste Makkah is, we're working backwards now, right? According to this cheshbon. This is it's talk, right? It's loose talk, as we call it, Hasidic talk. The Erste Mitzrayim is given from Dom to Makkah's B'cheres. Now we're going backwards. We're going from Makkah's B'cheres back. The Erste Makkah is given Makkah's B'cheres, mentions on the Mishnah, and yet it's Choshech. What you're experiencing right now is absolute Choshech. You're watching people in complete choshech. You're watching people that it makes no sense. And they're listening. I sitzt in car line with the mask and I doing 15 miles per hour. You tell me that's not choshech. When you have a whole country pinned down and tied down, surrendered to some Shigaz, that we need to do this, we need to do that, and everybody's complying, and they're already screaming, well, everybody's for it. It makes no sense. And it's going to get to a point where you're going to talk to them, you're going to be able to feel it, you're going to be able to touch the choshech, like, you're going to be able to, es platzen, there is stuff in plan, and there is platzen, it says mamash choshech. Do is lichting and that is choshech. I'm like, are you serious? You're real with this? You believe that? So that is jumping off the cliff. And that is the koyach was Yitzchak hat uns gegeben, Avrum hat uns gegeben, and Yaakov hat uns gegeben. Right? Because only Yitzchak and Yaakov are Muslims. Right? Suicide. But we have them cup. No problem. Now I can just be. I don't have to say hello to you even. I can just sit with myself and I can be in my own head. That's it. I can use the time to tonic built-in mortgage. Like, fine, no problem. I'll deal with it. Yeah? A little more clear? The ganze Mashiach program is going to be laughable. We're going to be Mitzachik. The Ebshter says Tzchoik Yitzarte Levyasin Ze Levyasin Yitzarte L'Tzachik. Boy, we're going to play with the Levyasin. We're going to be laughing. Don't quote me on the Lashon. I'm not good with it. It says the Levyasin is L'Tzachik. We're going to play with the Levyasin. The Ebshter is going to play with the Levyasin and we got lachen. What you're watching right now is Tzchoik, because as the Pelishtim are spinning themselves into this and into that and into all this, you have the koyach to tonic built in mortgage. You're laughing yourself like mamash. You're watching it and don't get caught up in this spin. You're just laughing at it. Now again, they're going to try to. We hope it's going to be b'chesed v'rachman. That's what the tzaddikim am gedaven, that this process should be b'chesed v'rachman. That we shouldn't have to go through a painful process. That we should wake up, and it's our job to walk around with this consciousness. Back to the basics. Walk around with the confidence, walk around fearless, because people are scared. They don't know. They're scared, they're confused, they're surrendering. Right? So if you have the mindfulness. And this is the Tzchoik Usul Elikim, Kitzchokus Elikim, this is what Yitzchok Avinu it was with his gevura. He was sitting there in his choshech the kedusha, and he was laughing to the bank. He was watching the process, he was watching the program, and the exam came up with the guy too, and he was like, okay, let's do this. I'm gonna take these guys for a ride. Right? And this is what you see now. Let's go on the minor. Anochim Mogen Lacham. Pirish. Mogen Avram. Okay? Pirish Mogen Avram. Jeden Tag bei Shmona Esrei sagt man jetzt Mogen Avram. Wine, tequila, wine. You want to open up a red one?
Yeah.
Yeah? Alright. Here in Chabad, the whole year is 1 month. A month and a half. The ganze winter, the ganze pressure is van wat fin nog sick is, bis Chanukah. Nog is over. Oh, I'm sorry, not even Chanukah. Chanukah is Chofei. En op Babeltje doe je Yom Tov. Fin Yutas Kislev hebt ze gewoon Yom Tov. Yutas Kislev is the Rosh Hashanah for Hasidus. That's why we have all this whole conversation is taking place from Yutas Kislev. And the Rebbeim said, the Rebbe Rashab said that the Sheshes Mei Bereshis, Tachlis HaGavana Sheshes Mei Bereshis is again for Yutas Kislev. So we're going to get to that when we get to that. So we have from Yutas Kislev. So we have a month and a half of this Yaakov Ulu Chadarka that we're basically squeezing, and we're almost there. After that, it's already Yutas Kislev, Chanukah, nog was de Tavlis, is nog Arabisch, Yom Haledes, en Ayutzat, en Abruch, en Amanse, nog was de Shvatashem, Tu B'Shvat, and nog Hatashem Ba'udah, it's his Leibedikshen. But so we have a month, we have about 4 weeks of grinding. After that, we're getting ready for Chanukah, Purim, Pesach, it's all, we're going home already. So first of all, l'chaim to everybody sitting here, part of this, the share, part of this consciousness. That everybody is. There's a minyan, yes, we'll do a ma'ariv tonight, and it's a beautiful thing how each and every one of you had such a powerful process over the last 2 years. They had season finale, one by one, everybody here. And now we're mindful of it. We're aware of what happens. People upgraded and upgraded more, one ali after the other. So the first thing we need to do is not to take it for granted. We need to once it happens and there's the excitement, then there's a whole different squeeze of the lemon by celebrating the excitement, by being thankful and being mindful of the greatness of what's happening. To say thank you, Hashem, for where I am, for my wife, my children, my life, for those who needed health and for those who needed marriage. Marriage by the way, a shidduch is every morning you wake up and you're married is a shidduch, right? It's to be grateful for that. It's a beautiful thing. And every day that you wake up and you're out of that is also a beautiful thing. And every day you wake up and you have your parnasa, and every day you wake up and all these amazing things to celebrate that, because that's where it resides. Because the nachal, Navea, Makor Chachma operates on simcha. These guys hijacked the herring over there.
Another one. Go for asking. He's the only one who makes herring without onions.
There's a lot. It's grounded. Anochim Mugalach, Perish Mugan Avram. The Hina Noidish Avram, who begins Chesed Gadol, Ad Moed, Belishim Manayam. You guys can continue eating, I won't see it, it's fine. Shavrum begins Chesed Gadol, Ad Moed, Belishim Manayam. Avram is begins Chesed, Ad Moed. This is all this you can't imagine. Belishim Manayam. Unkashim and Upahalt, but kill him toiv and ba'enav. Alles is gittens an oig. V'hu rak toiv. Ayid has the ability to see everything, to see the light in everything, because everything is light. Any choshech that you go through, any type of squeeze that you process, there is light over there. The goy is the goy cannot process that. There's a level as to how far he can go. When we say goy, let me just be clear what I mean when I say goy. So we're going to be, to put it into perspective. Goy means midas. there's every midah is acted out. Different nations act out different middas. So the goy, we have the goy within us. Jeder hat sich sein goy. Man goy, there's my certain of my attributes. There's a certain part of myself that is that can't process that far. There's a limit as to how far he can go. But because we have the Avrum set us up in a program, we are the Zayda Avrum is not two different things. It's nicht Avrum is given 4,000 years zurück. In our DNA flows Avrum, something, a consciousness called Avrum. Was kommt Eiver Anur, was kommt von Hecher von Chachma, Avram, Nelam, Mikol is von dort kommen. We have the ability to go to zoom out. No matter how deep and how much you're going to squeeze me, we can go up. The Nesher can go so high up and see the perspective and everything, no matter where you put him. And you have the ability to see the Toiv in every single situation. V'hurak Toiv. Again, v'kulam Toivim be'inav, v'hurak Toiv. V'lechen Amar lo Yishmol, yichil lefanecha. I'm sorry, what's up? V'lechen Amar li Yishmol, yichil lefanecha. Yishmol is at Leiden Fadir. Shepiris, sheyichil la'ad lefanecha. She begins ein sof beligvul. Okay, he's able to hold space even for Yishmol. V'afabi shuyadei ma Yishmol. I feel like with this Yishmol. Af bekem machmas chesed godel v'tuv v'agodel roitze sheyichya v'lo zu bavad el shrotze sheyichya lechesed b'ligvul. In other words, he was able to hold space no matter how far, how deep, and how low Yishmol was able to go. Avram was able to meet him over there and just meet him, and keep giving. It was a chesed because Avram came from such a high place that there was no Geshes, it was Efer, so he was able to hold space even for Yishmael. No matter what he did, he was able to find the good in that too. There's Eibishter that too, Yishmael is a bandit and a chaya, but there is chesed in that too. He was able to process that all the way. And this is something you can meditate on your own, to process this on your own. V'zeh de Isa, loik Avram shiatzu meni Yishmael, v'yatzu machmasurav chazdeh, the Eibishter gesagt, loike Avram Yitzchak, and Shmuel loike Yitzchak, loike Yitzchak, and Esav elike Yaakov. Aber be'emes ein maharoi ken. The hinne, bebies Mashiach, Mir Hashem, the Mashiach is going to come, Mir Hashem. It's interesting, Lashon, the Alter was using a Mir Hashem.
Yeah. First time
Never
seeing
saw it
yeah.
before.
I caught my eye too, when I think what if you... No, the only thing... It's Mir Hashem. It's not Mir Hashem?
It makes sense.
No, Mir Hashem. No, it's Mir Hashem. I think I'm right. I can confirm this tomorrow, but it's fine. It works. In other words, what Alter is telling us, Mir Hashem, is that it's almost like a Bezrat Hashem. When it's Mishtana Bezrat Hashem is like with the help of the Hashem means that we have to go and break some doors and make it up. Mir Hashem is like it's here. It's already here. He just has to Mir Hashem, just open it up and it's there. And this is the Be'eris. You can dig your own Be'eris and tap into that right away. Mir Hashem means that it's available right now. Mir Hashem, just do your due diligence, and Mir Hashem, you're there. Ksiv Bala Mavas Netzach. And this is already a process that we're seeing right now. Bala Mavas Netzach is already a process that you're going to notice right now that even if let's say you were debating if you should jump the cliff or not, and you're standing there, and then your safety zone is shrinking, and then you're running back to go play in the ground again, and you're trying to go back, and it's not there anymore. In other words, my old temptations and my old my doubt, it's not there. I'm already breaking. It's already melted away. The blanket is already not there. It's all see-through. The spirit of Tuma is going to be at the Vegenam in the Oretz. V'tzorach levar kol ha'ram in the Oretz. V'dach mevar zan de alle ram in the Oretz. V'imi snag olam b'chaz der godel kanal lo hi olam. Again, v'imi snag olam b'chaz der godel kanal. In Tama wordt de veld geworden gefiet met a tremendous chesed lo hi olam yicholim lavel madrega anal shel Mashiach. We wouldn't have been able to get to the process of Mashiach. V'nishman, when we zal samen nor chesed, when the ganze Welt is on flat, unkan Horim, unkan mountains. Wat dus kent Mashiach kamen geven. Maar alles aan git en nog hebben. We would just get fat and it would look like Dara Fluga, Dara Mabel. We would run ourselves into the wall. It would look like Yishmael. Weet never gezegd droedelt as he's blowing himself up. How bored do you have to be to do that? How pissed darf man sein that I would just be somebody should strap himself and just explode for no reason. Wil geen bal Yitzchak, begin is din. Now Yitzchak is driving the truck the other way. Vaaf Yitzchak yotz met men Esav mag mas dina kosher al garbe getichya. Yitzchak goes the other way, all the way around. It's a zamin process fin tzimtzum that Esav came out from that val garbe getichya. There is something in Vel that exists today. The sword, the living with the gevuras and all that comes from Yitzchak that brought this down because he was able to hold space for that to counter this tremendous chesed that Avram is here. So now we have two wings. We have the chesed and we have the gevura. And it's playing out with Yishmael and Esav. So if on one side you have this string, you have the chesed, that's how Yishmael came into existence. And then I have the opposite, my other wing is that I'm giving birth to Esav. The sword, where we said before, no, beide Stein, eins gegen den zweiten. Ach, Yaakov was mit Moshe Weisz. Yaakov was given Moshe Weisz. He had both of them. He was able to process. Yaakov finally realizes that I have my oil, I have my choshech, and both of them are part of my makeup. And from both of these things, I'm able to hold the flame. I'm able to fly. I'm using both of them to help me fly. They're my perfect balance. Because if I only had one wing of chesed, I would be spinning like this, right? Imagine the wing. Imagine the eagle has one wing. It would just keep spinning. And now if I had only gevura, it would be the other way. But now if finally Yaakov comes, he's like, wait a second, I can use both of these, and I can balance myself. V'hinei noida. Ki magen is a shield. Nikra dover amchase lemoshel b'melchama. Nikra v'hinei noida. Ki magen nikra dover amchase. Magen is a shield, a bashitzer, which is a was sifadek. Lemoshel b'melchama nikra magen mash mechase boy shelo yishel all of akeshes. So the schema of him calls on the falboing muskim, the arrow. Enemy fire, exactly. V'hinei kesif keshemesh im magen Hashem elikim. The shemesh, the zin, in Magen Hashem, wusse the bashitzer from Shem. The shemesh is Yudke Vavke to the Moshe, which is this tremendous light, that the tzaddikim were able to say that klas hanefesh. It got to a point where they were just going. It was too much. You ever experienced that in a tefillah where it gets too intense? It's too much. There's too much light. I don't know what to do. People start, you purge or whatever it is. Yeah. Imaga mash mechase boy. V'hinei ksiv kim shemesh imagan Hashem elikim. Dam skimt around the Shem elikim. Shem elikim is the magen. What does Shem elikim look like? My stress, my tedus panasa. That's my Shem. That's the chesed that it's giving me because it's holding my space. Otherwise, I would blow out of this world. I would fly out of here. Shashemesh im lo yohel nirtek. When the zins al manishuben kam bashitze lo yohel yichadol nizbel oira agadol would burn up. Vahanirtek, the bashitzer who I'm making, this bashitzer nicht litvel, lisbel, man soll das kennen vertrugen. This is all, by the way, this is all from mata maila mata. The shemesh magen is like my tremendous love. Imagine you're all day making love, right? It's too much. So you have a process, you have a certain build up. When the ken sitzt na ganzen Tag and basking in the glory, what happened? Dara flog came because people were there, they had too much time to think. And at some point they're like, you know what? Then again, also leidig mit der Zeit, muss da warum die ganze Sache do. Let me figure out a way that I can bring down Shefa without doing the work, without processing, zooming, daven and drama, whatever avoided they had back then. So they went and they built a migdal. A migdal is they figured out a way how they're gonna process, how they're gonna be able to receive Shefa without doing anything. By doing Rabbavan and Gavanan, and what they did is, listen to this carefully. What they did, we're going to Nyana the Yonma, just to understand that it's the same people from there. We just keep recycling and we keep processing in a different way. What they did over there is but the Dara Fluga, what they did is they went down to Shinar, they went down to the lowest place, which is Nukva the Tohaim Rava. They figured out a place. They realized that the Welt is existing in an opposite. That there is the opposite. There's a counterpart. In other words, there's something called Nukva Tohaim Rava. Nukva Tohaim Rava it's achla v'shaitzir. It's how it's expressed in Zohar. It's something that it eats. It's like almost like something that swallows. It keeps swallowing you up. If you're too far from it, you're out of it, and if you get too close to it, it sucks you in. Okay? You walk on the street and you see something beautiful, and before you know it, you're sucked into it. That's how Nukva Tohaim Rava works, and that applies to business. It applies to my personal life. If I get overly excited about something, I get caught up into making money, and then if I pull out, then I get completely thrown out of it. Right? It's two ways you can't figure out. You have to be perfectly balanced. Nichlas b'shalom, v'yotze b'shalom. So they figured out a way how they can bring down Shefa and Welt without serving the Eibishter. They were applying the same shemas, but without doing the avodah that they had to do. The Eibishter said the kasha is that by the Dara Fluga, he didn't wipe them out. That's gegeben the Zibitzig languages that's gefangen. He split them all up into 70 different nations, and some of the Fadraide Yotzers. And by the Dara Mabul, he wiped everything out. The kasha is why by the Dara Mabul he wiped out the whole world, and here by Dara Fluga he let him live, but that's a geschicht in alle Zibitzig Ecken van de Welt. Because in the Dara Mabul is gemein kein Achdes. It's gemein Chumas met Uge, met Zane gemein, met Gigamut, met Geratschet. There was no consciousness. There was absolute. It was kosher. It was wild. But the Dara Fluga gemein Achdes. Magret ein Sprach. Everybody understood each other. And they figured out that if there's Shulam, if there's Achdes, if there's Aguda Achas, if there's unity, then they can stay below the radar. Because keiner verfehlt nicht. As alles is unity, is hat jeder einer agreed, is alles to do.
The quality.
What's that?
Is this a quality?
So they figured out that if someone tortured, Tom Heidelgrun verfehlen, gaat een bauen ovens en verbrennen mensen. Dat ben ik, ik get in dat Stalin. It doesn't last for long, because als ze doen keulen is gaat niet. Ze doen blit verfehlen. But if I keep everybody happy. Everybody's equal, can man reden. And what you're experiencing right now with the whole Black Lives Matters and all this chazerai, is that's exactly what you're saying. You see unity. Oh, it's all good, and it's all put on the mask, and this, and that, and that. This is unity, this is achdes. There's an achdes going on. It's verhakt, it's verkrimpt. Oh, it's doing achdes. So we know the Torah gives us the map. We know what's coming next. All right, so stay focused.
Black Lives Matter doesn't agree with it.
What's that?
They don't agree with it.
Yeah, whatever. I don't want to get carried away, but I'm saying you got what I'm saying. That there's a certain achdus here. Everybody's we should do it. It's good. It's safe. Why not? Close and don't close the mask. Alles is unity. It's not from playing. There's a certain achdus going on. There's a certain understanding that we're all understanding each other. Saving the planet. And the ganze saving the planet. Very good. Saving the planet is absolute apikarsis. It's 100% apikarsis. Because we are in control. The world is going, we're going to take charge. Don't worry, we got this. What, you're going to send the sickness? Don't worry, we have this. We're going to build a shield. We're going to build we're going to build a tower that we don't need you to heal. We're going to figure this out. We're going to do certain things that we're going to mess with the DNA that we don't need you.
Exactly the same.
Exactly. The DNA, they figured out this is what it looks. This is what Shinar looks like. We're going to go into Nukva the Tohem Ra. We're going to go into the lowest place, and that's called Nimrod Side Befir, because Nimrod knows what's going on. The other dummies are just following. But Nimrod gaat, weiß was gaat het in. He left Osman. That's how I stay in power. That's what we're dealing with over here. We're almost there. Tzadikim, da heb je gaat de roos nemen, de gamme van de shield. Wat tzadikim is nahagen ba. Met zijn hennen ba. Okay, ik ben af plaats wie ik ken als met de glezen en ongelezen. I'm like in between now.
Wel.
No, when I'm stressed, no, it's got this. Anyway, so this is Markesh, no? He's going to pull it out. They got the roast of the zin from the shield. But tzadikim is nahanim ba. The tzadikim al nanum and kennen nahanim af. And they were shemra doirim ba. They're going to be judged. So as you go through this process, you're able to. Some of them are going to be complete choshech. You're going to see this. You're going to see one door where you complete oir, and the neighbor's in complete choshech. He has no clue what's flying. והנה נוידה, שבכל בוקר דאברהם, בכנס חסד, מסעורה באוילם. והנה נוידה שבכל בוקר דאברהם, I had a problem with this even when I was looking at it before. Okay, we're going to go with it. שבכל בוקר דאברהם, בכנס חסד, problem is like I wasn't able to place the words. והנה נוידה שבכל בוקר דאברהם, בכנס חסד, מסעורה באוילם. בוקר דאברהם. Jede בוקר דאברהם, die Ashmorim בבוקר, Beginnes Chesed mis eure beoilem. Beginnes für Chesed is mis eure kimt an am Welt. Bei Yashkum Avram Baboike. Ik had is bezeure Kodesh. So Avram went all the way with this. Yeah, okay. Avram went all the way here, he went all the way there, then Yaakov was balancing it.
It's calling Boker Chesed, like that's the connect, like that's like Boker represents Chesed.
Boker represents Chesed, but the way Avram processed it, he was downloading. He mastered the Chesed. Bilam also got up a Boker, but he did not get up to that. He got up to the other Chazerai, and he failed miserably because their avoid is not in the morning. The Ashkan Ram Baboike, kad is bazer kros ba kros barach roit shel hanek es ol beginnes Chesed. Im lo hoye morgen beginnes Chesed amal, dat samtsam chazer betuve. V'los es derech tzimtzig moshe tzorach lach ze klippes, when I should tzrichem is will sit the kedusha sheik skapel shech an hoire kedua. Im lo hoye morgen, if Thomas not given a type of bashitze like a morgen, a shield, like we explained before, let samtzam chaz de betuve, to be able to be met samtzam the chaz de betuve, to be able to package it. V'los es derech tzimtzim, then we would burn out. It will be too much chesed. It will be go not grounded, ungrounded, just complete, civility or sleeping away my day without any motivation. There's just an abundance of everything. What does it look like when you're raised with a tati has everything, super wealth? You have zero motivation. There's no motivation. There's no motivation because whatever it is, the money I have, and I already did everything. I already have my car. I have my jewelry, and I have what's left to do. I'll go out of my mind. Suicide, right? I mean, it's just shroeltuk, as we call it in Yiddish. Thomas what was given the tzimtzum. You listening? No. If it wouldn't have been the tzimtzum means like if I wouldn't have my stress, we wouldn't be able to be mavar the ram and oretz. In other words, the foot soldiers on the front lines are going through a proper squeeze because they have the key to tremendous chesed. And in order for me to activate my chesed, to fire up that flintstone, I need to have a proper squeeze. So every time when you feel that squeeze, now that you already know Einoy Milvado, he's the boss. How do I know this? Because I already tried everything, and the outcome is the outcome. One way or another. Two people, both of them doing the same. One is successful and one is not. What happened? So you try again, and you try again. You keep hitting your head on the wall again and again. So now we're all like-minded. We already realize, okay, he's the boss. And, okay, now, so how do I get it? Can you please get me to? So now you tried that too, and he's not responding to that either. So what do I do now? So now I'm tapping in like, wait a second. Maybe there's something different here for me to do. I have a bigger job here. My job is that I'm a vessel for chesed, to bring into the world chesed through my, whatever it is that I do, my art, my understanding, my talking, and everything it is. So I have to go, I'm squeezed in order to bring the light into that place. And to go back to the question, if Terech had a bitter or not, if he's content, we have to get to a place sometimes that we're going to be living in a squeeze. But once I know that Gam Sham Nimtza, then it makes no difference. It's challenging, and it should be b'chesed v'rachmim. And the more people become like-minded, it becomes easier for the people that carry the load to be able to process this. I mean, everybody is going through a squeeze, but if you're sitting in a group in a check-in, it's like, okay, it's in a community. We're mindful of a squeeze. I'm mindful that I'm being squeezed into something, and I'm not okay with it, but I'm surrendering to it. I'm opening my mind up that everything is going to be okay regardless. What's the worst that's going to happen? It's going to start over again. By the way, once you jump, you know what happens? Nothing. It just starts over again.
Who's jumping? You're jumping, am I jumping?
I'm telling you, and once you jump, and once you get squeezed to what's going to be, nothing happens.
There's no end to it.
Exactly.
I don't see it.
So that's why we need to wake up Shechina. And we do that with other methods, by davening, with filling.
When you think you're done, you're dead. Because you finish your time.
Exactly. If you were not in the squeeze, you would go out of your mind. Because you have a choice to have a calmer life, but you choose not to, because what's the point? Every morning when with Midas Avram, Midas Chesed Kanal, on a Tzirichem Lavarach Berches Magen Avram. Megnem Machem Lebrucha Magen Avram. Megan Sheyasem Megan Sheyasem Magen Lebechinas Avram Hanal Tevesenu. Because we need a shield
against the chesed
from Avram. Otherwise we end up with Yishmael. Yes. Yeah. The question he asked is if there's any protection against the Gvir from Yitzchak. The answer is that when we do the Shir, we're plugging into a Klolas Digir consciousness, Alter Rebbe consciousness, which he talks to our higher consciousness. Then we go into Pratisdik, where you bring your personal package, then the data, then we can do it from there. But But right now the trick over here is to just download the consciousness, to become one with this awareness, and then from there, one by one, and you can open it up. Start cracking it from that way.
Also, this doesn't mean much that there wasn't anything wrong with Yitzchak's actual Gevurah. It's just maybe there wasn't a balance or something. The same with Avram's. Like, why should we fear Yitzchak's Gevurah? We should actually learn from his Gevurah. It's just that we also have to have the balance of both, right?
Yes, I mean, remember, the job wasn't done. We're finishing the job now. The job wasn't done. We have right, we have the left, and now we're finishing the job. Right. You know, we're getting down to, we're using the sparks of Torah's Mashiach is what's bringing this awareness right now. Like it's absolute choshech, and then you're putting some salt on top of the head, and we're able to wake up and to bring that balance that we need so desperately now that we're at the bottom of the end of the game. And this is where Malchus meets Kesed. Right? That's why we said before that we are on a higher. Again, Kabbalah is not agreeing with that, because technically, for sure there was panim b'panim, the yichud of panim b'panim in times of Beis Hamikdash, and now it's not. But we are waking up to it. We're getting out now to a higher consciousness because we don't have the Beis Hamikdash. We have it within us. We're doing the work, and we're going through the final squeeze that we're going to be the Keser Malchus B'Rosha. This is what we're pushing through Malchus, and then we're meeting with Keser again. Right? So we're right there. While I'm still going through, when I'm going, remember the Nachash is still in existence. So I only feel alive when I am overwhelmed. I think that I need to work 19 hours a day in order to meet the field that I accomplished. I need to go through the deal only makes sense when Chayanim Tziris Nafshtiki, when there's blood on the table. Otherwise, I didn't do a good deal. But as I'm waking up my Shechina, I'm getting in touch with my child. Because remember, we hurt what we were hurt, and it shows up in many different ways. But as I'm waking up to my love, I'm waking up to my inner child, I'm able to exist in a day of calmness. I don't need a squeeze. I don't need to be in a marriage of conflict. I don't need to be in a relationship of conflict. I don't need to have a partnership of conflict. I don't have to work 19-hour days. I can live in a place of peace. So once I start waking up to that, I won't need the squeeze anymore. We have to go through a proper squeeze for me to say, all right, Dayenu, no, I get the point. Okay, I'm fine by sitting with myself. How many people, just one more point, they have to live in the city. They can't live upstate, it's too quiet. Right? It's too quiet, they're running away from it. I need to hear the sound, I need to hear the alarms, because once it's too quiet, either there's too much pain going on, like there's either I have chaos within myself, so my existence has to be in chaos, and once I come up there is no, I feel like I'm dead. Or once I sit in peace, my pain comes up and I can't deal with it. This is a distraction for me. But so it goes on. My whole day is in distraction. My whole day I'm doing everything in distraction. Right? So how many successful people are driving themselves into the wall because business? You have 3 buildings. You have 5 buildings. You have 30 employees. But no, I need 50, and then I need 60 because I need to be in conflict. Because that's my existence. I can't help myself. My temperature is cooking. I need to be in constant. If there is no conflict, if there's no pressure, then I don't feel like I'm alive. So the answer is that no, we want to get to give the nachasha bitter that I'm finally realizing that I don't need. How do I realize that? What's happening? As you see, the Nyana the Yom, the parsha of the week is that the squeeze is coming down. You can't travel, you can't leave, you have to do this, you have to do that, where am I? So I can either get into conflict again with that, or I can get stuck and surrender to it and not get the message and get swallowed up in the nukva, Tohim Rabbah. Or I can take the message and I'm like, I don't need to. I don't have to go on 14 times a year on vacation. I don't have to go away for Pesach. I don't have to, and I can find the peace. Once I start, I'm able to live within my peace and within my calmness. I'm able to tolerate myself in a place of peace. I don't need to, and this is the message that's coming down. That's how you process what's happening out there. It's here to wake me up. It's here to bring me into a place where slowly I'm able to live in a place in a mountain by myself in a place of peace. I don't need the conflict. I don't need the squeeze to connect to Rafeinu. And then if I don't have the pressure, is Gam Sham Nimtzin. Not every davening is about my pleasure. There's a process of the Yitzchak Avinu also, where it's tanning built in Murish. It's completely dry. You get up in the morning and I'm tired, and you know that the tiredness is not necessarily because you're tired, because if you were going on a trip right now, you can be on 4 hours sleep and you're fine. If you're waking up to go to this exciting trip, 4 in the morning to catch a flight, and you're on 2 hours sleep, you're perfectly fine. You go 3 days, in Oman you went 4 days without sleeping, 5 days without sleeping, didn't even feel it, right? So to my davening now, where I'm feeling dry, is not because I am dry and I'm not feeling and I'm tired. This is where I'm processing right now. In my selfish self, I can't. I need to feel something. I have to feel fire, because otherwise I'm not feeling it. So that is could be Yitzchak Kol Chazara. I'm going into a process of that I don't need to feel, and that's where I'm experiencing there too. My Rafeinu. Today I'm just davening with the letters. Today I'm davening with the Aleph Beis. I'm just saying words. I'm looking. If I close my eyes and I fly away, I fall asleep. Then I'm just processing Baruch Ata Hashem, Hallelujah. That's it. I'm connecting to simple letters today. And you do that, and then it starts building fire from there. But if I keep fighting it, I'm trying to reach, then I fail.
It's almost when you live that way, there's no reason to live anymore.
Then is what?
There's no reason to live anymore.
No, the Balkarcha Chatechai.
If everything is flowing the way it should flow, then what's
Because-
excitement?
No, on the contrary, because how many people are in that space? There is a consciousness that needs life, that needs prayer, that needs tefillah from that place, and most people can't relate to that. Most people need to feel, or he's distracted, then he taps out, he taps in. That's once you live with that, and then you go back to the fire, and then you go back. There's both. There's Yitzchak and there's Chesed. There's Avram and there's Yitzchak, and then there's Yaakov that brings my mindfulness to that.
So is it possible to go into that consciousness and stay that way?
In which consciousness?
To Yaakov?
Of course.
When somebody's...
That's where we're heading. That's what we're trying to accomplish every single day, better and better, and more to find balance within my chaos.
But I feel that once I'm going to be there, it's not going to be any... There's no excitement.
So you're looking for... So Avram Avinu went into the place of Efer. He didn't care. What difference does it make? I'm not looking for any reward. I'm looking for nothing. I'm just looking. From that place you go from Eved. You go from Eved to Eved.
Because then
From Eved to Eved.
you have no reason to
From Eved Hashem to Eved Hashem.
to perfect yourself or to become better or to work on yourself. It's like everything is good.
Not everything is
I'm
no.
the way you are.
They're coming at you when you live in that. They keep pinching you here. There's a constant struggle. I mean, you're not being left alone. They come knocking on your door. You're dealing from one day with the credit cards, the IRS, bills, more. They're gonna
That's what
come.
I'm saying. So the once you go into overdrive mode, you're just like floating. Then what is there to work on?
That's first game.
Exactly. And stay flowing. And then your job is to bring this awareness to other people.
And then you're able to make much more change in this world. You don't know what you need. You don't know what you want.
Okay, tell me that, but I'm questioning that. I'm still at the question.
So first processing 1 minute at a time. Processing
I
present.
processed that for a long time and I'm waiting for that point, but it's not coming. So
It's coming. It's coming.
Oh yeah.
All right. Lech lecha.